right? Like now, it's the thing. So it's something I'm very passionate about. If you want to know more about me, I encourage you to connect with me on LinkedIn. I promise you I'll accept, but we have a lot to do, so I want to get right to it. Okay, so residents around the area, do you recognize this? All right, so I've lived in the Bay Area my whole life, which is just like, I don't know, 20. And I've seen this, it sort of appeared fairly recently. I think it was, I don't know, 2009 or something like that. And I go by it all the time and I go, well, okay, that's the story of the Valley right now. Like that's the tech designer story. It's all about innovation and anything is possible. Make something impossible possible. So that goes to what we're going to open with is optimism. So optimism is basically what designers are about. We all believe we're in this business. I'm not sure how many of you are actually designers, but we're in this business because our work can make a difference. Our work matters. We want to make things that are not just cool, but are good for people, right? Like, if you're a designer, I'm guessing you didn't get into the business because you wanted to make a sick amount of money, right? I mean, that's not why we do it. We feel like we can make a difference. So the problem is, it's great to be optimistic. Like we celebrate design leaders, Johnny Ive and everybody. They're our heroes. The reason I'm here tonight is because we don't ask ourselves a really important question. What could go wrong? And actually, I'm kind of glad that we're having this point in the evening because I feel like there's so many things that are part of this exercise that kind of touch on a lot of the questions that came up. For example, Jason talking about we need to be the ones to do this. Well, the reason that with LinkedIn we started doing this red team, blue team exercise last fall is because designers need a framework. They need something to point to. They need to understand empathetically real stories. Like in order to talk about this to your leadership, which you have to do, you need to understand real stories, like live real stories. So, as we all know, opportunities for bad actors abound. Drones are my personal major conflict because it's like, whoa, that's so cool, and holy crap, like it's over my backyard, right? Like, so that and Google Glass, which I think is kind of the tipping point for us to think about, maybe we should be thinking twice about this stuff. The deep fake stuff going on, the living portraits, I don't know if you saw that a couple weeks ago, but you can make this one AI engine makes portraits, like classic portraits, turn into video, just moving their face and everything. It's amazing. And then, I don't know why the font is doing that, but pretend that says 41. Harassment, and of course on LinkedIn, we think about this a lot. Harassment is very real. 41% of Americans, in, I think it was like 2017 Pew Research study, I said they experienced harassment online. So the problem statement that we're working with here is the design process doesn't take bad actors into account, therefore we could be designing danger into our product. So let's talk about Red Team, Blue Team. Again, we started this last fall. It has absolutely got so much traction. People really like it. It's been the source of a lot of aha moments for designers. And it's part of, like I said, it's building a way for you to be able to understand these problems and talk about them. What's Red Team, Blue Team, you might ask? Red Team, Blue Team is something that started with the Department of Defense in the 1960s. And it was picked up by security engineering teams since then. And it's actually very actively used by a lot of, you hear white hat, black hat, it's kind of a little bit the same thing. But basically, an organization splits into two teams. The red team becomes the bad actors. They try to find vulnerabilities in the software. They try to exploit them. The blue team tries to anticipate the attacks and block them, and then improve the product to make sure they can't happen. You can't fix a problem you don't know exists, right? So what we're going to do, I'm talking quickly because this is a 2-hour workshop compacted into much less time. But we're going to brainstorm bad actors. And then we're going to do a red team. Now, we're going to do this a little bit differently. Instead of splitting you into two, you're going to do the red team, and then you're going to do the blue team. You're going to do both. And my hope is that this is something you can take back to your teams as an idea for an exercise you do with your team. So we're going to walk through it, we're going to play around with it, and hopefully you can go back and do it yourself. And then we're going to share some of the things that we talked about. I will ask, I'm here from LinkedIn, we're going to ask, when we do this, we're not going to play with LinkedIn and just believe that we're doing that actively on our own, but we're going to do a really interesting activity. So let's start with bad actors. So in order to do a red team, blue team, now remember I just went through what the red team does. You actually are going to take the role of bad actor. First you have to understand what a bad actor is, and then you have to create sort of a bad actor to role play, right? At LinkedIn we created a set of 5. I'm not going to tell you what they are just yet, but I want to take some time and brainstorm some bad actors, and I'm going to put them up on the board. So I want to make sure I'm clear. When I say bad actor, I'm not talking about a spammer or a pushy salesperson. When we talk about bad actor, we're talking about somebody who has an agenda, who's going to do something that actually is going to be harmful, dangerous, or make somebody, a user, or in our case, members, feel really uncomfortable or perhaps terrified. Right? That's a bad actor. Now, it sounds like a negative thing, and obviously, real world it is. But you'd be surprised how imaginative people get when they go through this exercise. So hopefully, you'll find it interesting. So I'm going to put the clicker down, and can we have the microphone people ready? Or you can just yell, and I'll repeat it either way. So up here I've got a couple of examples, right? So when we say bad actor, for the purposes of our exercise, we're going to just say what they are, not who they are, but what they are and what they're thinking. So we want to understand what their mindset is, right? That's sort of going to be our, for the purpose of the activity, you guys are going to get these worksheets, and you're going to be able to put in the one you choose to use. So what they are and what their mindset is. So does anybody have any suggestions for what a bad actor might be in this case, based on all that?
Is it supposed to be based on a specific product?
No. That's a good question. Is it supposed to be based on a particular product? No.
But when you do it as an activity, like in your
Yes, we'll get more. Yeah, we'll be more specific when you do the red team activity. Exactly. Anybody else?
An abusive parent?
Abusive parent? Sure. Great. Anybody else?
Bad boss.
A bad boss?
Yeah, disrespectful.
Okay, so this is really interesting, and this is something that comes up a lot. When you say bad, do you mean like sexual harassment or something like that? Because there's definitely so there's a spectrum of not good activity. We're way over here. Like we want to because the whole exercise is much more focused if it's like somebody who's actually harmful or dangerous. So I would say.
Who's hell-bent in destroying your career?
Huh? Hell-bent in destroying your career?
Someone who's hell-bent in destroying your career.
Okay. So let's call that
vindictive,
a vindictive colleague.
toxic coworker.
I think vindictive puts a lot more oomph into it. We're looking for oomph here. All right, vindictive colleague. Excellent. You guys are really getting the hang of this. Okay, my hand raised here. Sorry, don't go away.
Pedophile?
Sorry?
Pedophile?
Pedophile, absolutely.
Excellent.
Now, one thing I want to sort of caution, we don't want to get explicit in our exercises, but yes, that's definitely a bad actor. A stalker? A stalker! Yes. Excellent.
Disgruntled customer.
My daughter, everyone, literally doesn't. Disgruntled customers. Okay, yeah. Good. Excellent. Anybody else?
Cheating spouse.
Cheating spouse. Okay, so do you mean cheating like trying to do things without? Okay, okay. Well, no. So I have this like. They're having, no, I get it. Yeah, so generally I try to think of it as somebody who's like gonna do something really dangerous. So it almost would be like, you know, suspects the spouse of cheating, and so they're doing this dastardly stuff because, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Huh? Divorcing, that's not evil enough. We need danger. But let me, look, I don't want to just walk away from yours. So let's just say suspicious spouse. Okay. I know that doesn't sound evil, but that can get really gnarly. Okay, let's just get a couple more. Right about time. Okay.
Terrorist?
Antonio.
Terrorist?
Terrorist. Okay, that's actually ding ding ding. So I'm gonna add political operative, or I should say unethical. Now, so at LinkedIn, one of the bad actor archetypes we have is political operative. Now, at LinkedIn, we're very we take this kind of stuff very seriously. So we also have looking for a date, which on Facebook is not that big of a deal. On LinkedIn, it's a huge deal. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next section. Awesome work, you guys. By the way, I just want to thank all of you for caring so much about all of this stuff that you're here tonight.
I said identity theft.
Oh, identity theft. Sure. That one gets a little weird because it tends to be more about passwords and stuff like that, which isn't. But I'm gonna put it here. Awesome. You're gonna have a chance to make your own bad actor archetype in just a second. You know, with whoever, give you one of these or something like that. But remember, it's somebody who's going to do something that's harmful and dangerous, or you know, cost people their money or something like that. Cool. All right. So red team. Now, if my wonderful assistant Antonio can help me pass things out. Here's what I want you guys to do. I'm going to just, you know, kind of like say, I don't want to take a lot of time dividing into teams. So just group up in groups of 2 or 3, okay? There's 2 right there, there's 2 right here, there's 3 right there, you get it. All right. Now, for red team, what you're going to do, does everybody have a phone? I assume you have a phone. Okay. Introduce yourself to your team. And we're trying to make this work in half the time I usually have. Okay. All right. You guys are going to have a lot of fun together. So, if I can have everybody's attention for just a second. In your team, agree on an app that you all use every day or are pretty familiar with. And don't overthink it. Make sure that it's something that involves people interaction of some sort. Buying from Amazon is not a good thing. So, like another app that's got some kind of social component to it. That's the first thing you need to do. We have 20 minutes all told for this, so it takes a little bit of time to do this kind of scheming. And if you want to, once I've explained this, to move over there or move over there or something like that so you can talk in peace, that's fine too. Okay, So you're going to agree on a bad actor archetype. Don't overthink that either, but just pick out a bad actor archetype. See your worksheets? Have you all got one? You all got a pen? I have pens. Everybody got a pen? All right. In your team, agree on a bad actor archetype. Give them a name. Give them a little story. All right? Find out, create who they are targeting and why. All right? Now, this is where the emotion gets in, and this is why we deliberately don't fill in those details on those papers. Because when you as a team, and your team, if you do this at work, with your team, coming up with these stories makes it instantly personal, right? You guys come up with these stories, and you start to feel this anger or resentment or whatever this person is feeling. So take like 5 minutes and figure out your bad actor, their name and their story, and then we'll go ahead and start the exercise.
Yeah, I'll talk here. I have to go
Is the most evil one. Or like, I was about to say that's actually really scary. That's really scary.
I mean, if it's a digital product, it's like verbal, more It's a very like so like all of her family all like like when they're doing taxes they can go home it has like okay I'm going to this other place and like So, okay, so there's definitely a physical element.
find out where they're help them transport them. Want them to come back home, stuff like that. And the moment you tell me stories that I
It's like asking me to say something highway. That's not really like getting at it exactly. It's like, yeah, that's like where you meet yourself. Anybody that can do anything to get
All right, everybody got their bad actor? Got a name? Don't worry, I'm not gonna make you shiver. All right, the fun part is the red team exercise. So, let's go ahead and you know, like the finishing touches on your bad actor. And yeah, we're gonna choose an everyday app that you're familiar with, where people interact with it, one another, post content publicly or conduct business. So again, your bad actor archetype, who are they targeting, and what's their motivation? So we're going to have you, that's why I passed out Post-it notes. So ideally, in this workshop, we're sitting around tables with lots of paper and stuff. We don't have that, so do the best you can. You've got your bad actor archetype, you've got this step done now. So in this case, it's an ex-significant other named Ian, he's a Pilates instructor, and their quote is, she's going to be sorry she ever met me. That should be sort of like what you have now. So you've got I assume you've got a little bit of a backstory, and then you're going to actually map out the attack, specific to the app you guys have agreed on, okay? Now, you don't have to use the whole app. It can just be one part of the app, like one feature of the app. But you're going to say what the goal of attack is and what their step-by-step process is. Now, I want to emphasize that the goal of this talk we're doing tonight is not for you to find something and, and by the way, also, please don't tweet about anything you find. I want to make sure, this is really important to me. This is not about product shaming, okay, at all. This is about learning the exercise of how to go through this thing and find stuff with your own product, okay? So you're going to map this attack out, and then, so we have 20 minutes to do that, all right? That's a fair amount of time. Put a lot of thought into it, and really just get into this, ghoul's character, personality. And then we'll switch to blue team, which is 10 minutes, so we'll get you out of here as soon as possible. So, you want to start the timer? All right, 20 minutes, go to it. And again, if you want to move around, if it's easier, that's fine too. Does that make sense? Do it. Anybody have any questions? Yep, okay, cool. the sequence on the back there, that helps.
I'm like in the middle of just setting my crush body right Brief backstory about Mark.
Maybe, and then, okay, this person is paid much more. Yeah. Just take, gold tax, so, or
Or maybe she's using like, I mean, you were talking more about like the tracking. So like, yeah, I don't know, like, I guess Facebook has like some, like, check-ins. Foursquare.
oh yeah, they do.
I remember a while back, I actually, like, you guys were back in the day, it was like, individually something.
The internet, that was all Foursquare back in the day too. Check-ins. Places.
Yeah, like that. Kind of like that.
I don't know, I mean, otherwise, like, I don't know how to use where Instagram. Yeah, we can do it. Why don't we say? That's why I said Facebook, but. Yeah. And then she can also like post on
Like, they are so
Yeah. It's really funny. I think so. So first one I don't want but I only took pictures of like close up, so you couldn't see how many of the chairs there were. But we're doing so that was study room. And
I guess the other one would be like.
second thing is San Francisco, so next month it's sold out. Yeah. Yeah. And plus, yeah, it's really good. It's just a component and over I'm already very anyway, but that got interesting, right? Full body there, you know, this part of they have
that's like the grandma would probably be posting on her own wall thinking it's going to.
Oh my god. Have you seen those things where like the screenshots of people searching to like the Facebook link? Yeah, and then their Facebook status. Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Or their like comments or Facebook page. Hey, what's wrong with like the toilet?
My grandpa was like for me. Yeah, he's like Richard Phillips. Congratulations on the new baby, Richard Phillips. Or they like love Randy.
And then yeah, so because of disabilities, Shane, so her oldest, Shane's daughter's having yeah. So it's like her she was rich for the daughter. And then there, she would either reach out to different like SDGs to the friends or something with the daughter.
Hey, that sounds a little too friendly.
Actually, yes. You need my cup. But sometimes my grandma and then she'll be like, and then like I just kind of piece through like, no, I'm not supposed to talk to grandma. And then like if my mom picks it up, my mom's like, oh. Just don't pick up the phone.
funny. I wasn't, I hadn't seen that until like just now.
Five minutes.
Repetitive pipetting when I come for the experiments, and doctors can like change for fear. It's actually really good. So like just because you're pipetting so much and it's manual and so like
Seems like there's video robotics.
the thing is that, like we have robots but they're so expensive and then startups like humans so like a lot of the doctors were like 26 and like 7 degrees are like and then they found out that like I also have hypermobility, so they were like your anatomy like puts you in jeopardy, like you get more injured, and they were like if you want to stay on that recovery, you just have to have this like a splint on, yeah, like a splint. So I was like, especially because you need to like if you want to get anywhere within that field, you have to go on get a PhD, and then that's how you break the ceiling. I'm sorry. You see, I used to. I saw someone. Oh, guys, I didn't get assembly in the trade craft, which should I go to? And then it sounded like it was a previous like mentor. Yeah, something like that, yeah. And then like one of the previous mentors was like, oh, I would really recommend trade craft over assembly just because they have a little better working experience at trade craft. And then I also had like an
Not really good at explaining this. It was a good episode, but I
what were you guys doing first?
Two minutes.
Post P2P design decision. It's gonna be like what you're gonna do.
Hello. There's our timer. That means we're done. And you guys are closer to getting home. All right. How did that feel? Did that make you feel? Evil? Bad? Terrified? Yeah? I mean, any kind of emotional, I know it's hard, it's Monday night. Good Lord, you're here, who knows when. Thank you for doing that. Okay, so ordinarily, in a regular red team, blue team, we'd have a share out, we'd talk about it, share a few laughs, blah, blah, blah. We're not gonna do that. So we're gonna go right to blue team. Now, to recap, blue team is everybody to breathe in, no longer a bad actor. Bye-bye. I'm a designer now, and I see a problem. We've identified a problem. Now, you're gonna have to pretend you're a designer for the app that you just tested. Okay? You're not the bad guy or gal anymore. How would you change the design to prevent what just happened? And this is a kind of a, you don't have to draw it, you don't have to, figure it all out. Just brainstorm some ideas. And it could just be like a free storm of, ideas. So we're gonna take 10 minutes to do that. You don't have to lay out the story, post-it notes, everybody's tired. But think about, ways things you could do to solve it. Yeah, so that makes sense? Yeah, okay, cool.
It's like
It describes the relationship, the where usually like it would be like Martha.
Yeah, she's
Whereas like they would have to say like they would have to have that thing in their relationship that says this person looks things up specifically like messages that they were like specific instead of just looking at oh yeah, like recommended it.
Like grab static somewhere and then it would be like creatively like,
Yeah. Here's your
I think that like maybe that was it might be an interesting thing to look at. Like I
5 minutes.
there's like some places where like example you want to maybe the website and just like it's like hey this is going outside of like our network and that's why if we have like a little message pop up people are like yeah like people that they're not necessarily like hey like this person is not with your network where what is it you share with them might not know what their motives are.
How expensive that is. You never know. Some other friends be careful. Yeah, and how the
they have that on Facebook. Otherwise, like, you have to have something like the person who you're connected through, maybe what it is. Where it's like, oh, that's not so contact your friend. Inhibiting privacy. Well, that could be it. Maybe with second guess
Twitter bot. I know yeah. You take this picture.
really snowing Thursday afternoon.
This email and they use very apparent video to worry. Oh yeah. I think this is a spam and I will check it.
Yeah, I mean, it was like your city.
Yeah, so there's some background maybe
It's like one of the main
Whenever I make something that's like
very nice.
wow.
Everybody, I know we all want to go home. Good conversation, a lot of energy. I know there's only like a few of it, but it's like way more than I expected to stay. So thank you. Good job. Give yourself a hand. Let's do it. Come on. It's Monday night. There's like alcohol's way back there. Anyway, let's not drag this out. I normally would have this like share out and everything, and when you do this at your organization, please do that. Please have plenty of time for discussion. Also think about how can we change our process, right? How can we change our process, not just this UI, but our whole process with design strategy, review, how do we compensate for or recognize pushback? Like, this might be dangerous. How do we recognize that as much as we recognize a ship it? Let's have those conversations too. Anybody have anything that they thought was so amazing that they had to have to talk about it, that they discovered? I'm not expecting anybody to raise their hand, but I want to give you the opportunity. All right, cool. All right, let's go ahead and wrap it up. I hope you had a good experience with this. I hope a light bulb went on. I hope that you can talk about this with your team. Please reach out to me if you have any questions at all. I will answer as much as I can. You look like you're about to ask something.
Well, what were you said you had 5 things that you like.
Yes, 5 archetypes. I hope I can remember them. Scammer, political operative, disgruntled ex-employee, angry ex, and did I get up? That's only 4.
One more.
I may be a designer, but I can do math.
Did you say someone looking for a date or something?
Looking for a date. Thank you. Ding, ding, ding. Yes, looking for a date. I planned that Easter egg in advance because I knew this question was coming. Yeah, looking for a date, which on LinkedIn is a big old no-no, and it happens all the time. So yes, those are what we use. But these are some awesome ones too. Like I took a picture because I thought you guys were just. This is the thing I found out is like designers had an amazing capacity for coming up with evil like a drop of a hat. Designers, researchers, that whole thing got real dark. Like can't even tell you. So, but yeah, so give yourself permission to just go there, right? Because you can actually make plausible scenarios and make these into real people, right? And that's how you can tell the story to your leadership and say, we figured this thing out that this is not good. And you can keep that conversation going. So I hope you had fun. Thank you so much, everybody. Go home.